The legend of the Invisible Man. A creature frightening in his appearance, strength and power. He was called the Unseen, the Holy Wizard, but most frequently the Kuktemir, or the Invisible Man. Although many tales about this man are unbelievable, he was nonetheless a very real person. Like that invisible man on 4 legs who lives in the horde, speaks with a human voice, leaves the horde for 2 or 3 days. No one knows where he goes, but when he does return, he makes a roaring noise, but no one can see him. Only one woman who's always by his side sees and recounts that he walks on 4 legs, wears boots and a hat, and calls himself the Dark Bull, has a human head, has bull's horns and a back of steel, hence the nickname Kuktemir. Chapter 1. The Shadow of Pugachev. Moscow, strong frost, the 10th day of January, year 1775, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Street gawkers and other people have already gathered by the Goat Swamp, the place where public executions took place. Infantry regiments have brought onto the platform a short man in a sheepskin coat. Pugachev's followers were executed in as cruel a manner as they themselves executed the nobles and people of different classes, either executed or pardoned them. Dismemberment. Only in case of Pugachev, as far as I know, they first beheaded him and only then chopped off his other body parts. The chief executioner signaled and the executioners rushed to undress him. They took off him his sheepskin coat and began to tear at the sleeves of his crimson silk shirt. Then he clasped his hands, turned over on his back, and in an instant his bloody head was hung in the air. The executioners swung it by the hair. This ended the earthly journey of rebel Yemelian Pugachev, but his legendary path unexpectedly continued. Autumn of the same year, in the steppes in the little horde that has just survived the bloody summer, disturbance is brewing once again. Rumor has it that Peter III had not been executed but left for the Crimea with his army and will soon appear in Orenburg and the Yaitsky town. Supposedly, this was the prediction of Kuktemir, the Invisible Man, who possessed the gift of foresight and received the information directly from the emperor himself. In the minds of people, Peter III was the king who gave people freedom and land. The king who helped others to survive in this life. All these qualities would later merge in the perceived character of the Invisible Man. Kazakhs still remember very clearly the punitive expeditions of 1775 and understood the Invisible Man's desire to remain anonymous to others, which rendered him invulnerable, concealed him from enemies, and created the myth of his supernatural powers. The imperial administration reacted immediately. The memory of Pugachev's uprising was still too fresh for comfort. Under the guise of Tatar merchants, scouts were sent into the steppe. The Invisible Man's village of about 2,000 vans had wandered into the mouth of the Hobda River. Driving up to it, the Tatars heard strange sounds, a voice that did not appear to be human. The tent of the Invisible Man stood apart from the rest and looked like a mosque with a crescent on top. The Tatars were forced to dismount their horses and perform a religious ritual, kiss the van's door and a sacred treasure chest, allegedly filled with the holy man's treasure. The merchants, seeking to gain the confidence of the Invisible Man, left corals and pearls on the top of the chest for him. And there in a yurt, the visitors were greeted by a young Kazakh woman who was cooking meat. She told the guests that the Invisible Man had communicated to her that the merchants were fake. They were spies, and danger awaited them. The Invisible Man did not come out to meet these merchants. First they went in to offer gifts, but as they came out, they heard a voice coming from the tent. Something rumbling, something shuddering, something destructive. Standing beside the tent on their knees, the merchants heard the same strange voice 3 times, but no words were spoken. At the same moment, a large knife poked through the tent door with a piercing sound. The Kyrgyz said it was the sound of the metal that Kuktemir's back was made of. The merchants had to buy the way out of danger, and the sum was great. They left in a hurry. Chapter 2: The Flying Squad of the Invisible Man. Moscow, the Pushkin Museum, hall number 12. And here in this room, we wanted 2 opposing sides. Kyrgyzia on one side, the Kyrgyz Kaysaks, the Cossacks who fought with Pugachev. On the walls are the images of companions, quite an international composition. Here could be another portrait, the feminine face of Pugachev's rebellion. But it is unknown what she looked like, which is not surprising. This was the flying squad of the Invisible Man. After Pugachev's death, Kuktemir sent troops to the Volga River against the Don Cossacks to protect the interests of Kazakhs in the area. And she encouraged everyone to continue Pugachev's uprising. After the Tatar merchants left the village, they managed to learn from the locals the identity of the one hiding under the guise of the Invisible Man. Under the name of the Invisible Man lives a woman, aided by the Kyrgyz and an evil spirit that possessed her since childhood. The name is Sapara. She is of the Tabinsk line, daughter of Kyrgyz Myatyan. At nightfall, she is known to have meetings with the evil spirit. Allegedly, Sapura was the invisible woman in these steppes. She appeared here and there, doing the same thing that Pugachev did. Sapar Matemkazi, in the 1870s, she became the organizer of the national liberation movement of our Hobdinsk region. This time period is also associated with the colonial policy of the Tsarist government and the fight against local sultans. Sapura was only 22 at the time. Ever since she was little, she suffered from an unknown disease which caused her to have seizures, accompanied by visions. Sapura's image was used very successfully due to her unique physical condition. That is, she slipped easily into trance. She meditated and was able to communicate with spirits. The chosen person clearly represented a secret, some mystery, and at the same time a formidable force that would enable people to resist the injustice they suffered.
Позволит народу противостоять той несправедливости, против которой народ боролся.
The girl's unusual behavior produced a mystical impression on all who surrounded her. And while it is possible that she was only faking her seizures, Sapura was believed. A simple Kazakh woman. Why did she think that? She led troops and formed teams, and everyone obeyed orders. They went into battle happily. Troops under her leadership attacked swiftly and robbed the Cossack settlements, other people's villages, and came back carrying spoils. The elusive avengers caused a lot of trouble. They also practiced barimta, cattle theft, in the steppe tradition. The militant woman raided the area in the same way Pugachev attacked fortresses, and afterwards they seemed to fly off into the vast steppe and disappear. The invisible flying troops attacked military fortifications as well. Verkhnyuralsk, Tanalitsk and Orsk along the Orenburg line. Battles were fought in the Guryev area. Villages Red and Black Yar were raided. The troops intended to go to Orenburg and Saratov. Local administration demanded to be given the troops to protect the garrisons. To strengthen the morale of the soldiers, Kuktemir, also known as Sapura, assured the warriors that he would be with them at all times and no harm would come to them. And for a while it was so. But then Sapura ran out of luck. Chapter 3. The Steppe Zorro. So we have just entered the storage.
These
are the earliest documents in the history archives of the city of Omsk. There are parish registers of churches in Kazakhstan. So if you go through it, you will find materials. Related to Kazakhstan? Yes. There are a lot of documents related to Kazakhstan here, and this is where the old case of the mysterious Invisible Man is kept. The Invisible Man was not unlike Zorro in Kazakh history. When Kuktemir's large Kazakh military troops gathered in the village, apparently based on the rumors that Pugachev would soon arrive, in Orenburg called the Kazakhs to be in the state of preparedness. Whichever city you want, Orenburg or Uralsk, I shall give you. There was a rumor that Pugachev was alive, revolting and ready to return again. These rumors could not disturb Nur Ali Khan, the ruler of the little horde. There was a time when Pugachev promised to hang the Khan by his rib and make his cousin Dusali Sultan the sovereign ruler. The latter, along with his son Seyd Ali, were Pugachev's associates. Together they stormed the Yaitsky fortress. So the movement of the Invisible Man was to the Sultan's advantage. There has been preserved a letter written by Seyd Ali, supposedly dictated to him by the Invisible Man. He called the Bashkir troops to join the movement for a new Russian Tsar. It would be better if both parties, being Muslims, united their troops and fought against Russia before the arrival of the new Tsar. If you proceed contrary to this, you shall soon face the consequences. If you have negative opinions or prove unfaithful, we shall not spare you. Sapura's village had long been under the protection of Dusali. They collaborated, united consistently by common interests. But by the spring of 1776, the Sultan agreed with Nur Ali and went over to the side of Russian authorities. After Seyd Ali Sultan defeated a number of villages in Bashkiria, captured prisoners and cattle, the family of Dusali Sultan adopted a hostile attitude towards the Invisible Man. In February 1776, Dusali wrote to Governor Reinstorp, "I just don't think our horde would profit from it." He complained that there were citizens among his people who didn't listen to him, the Sultan, and requested a punitive expedition to be sent against them. The death squads were never sent, and Nur Ali Khan gathered soldiers himself and went to the village of the Invisible Man. I intended to destroy the village and burn his house to the ground, but while I was on my way, that woman with the whole Ulus migrated to the river called Kiul, wrote the Khan to Governor General Reinstorp, and somehow the movement of the Invisible Man stopped at once. The story of the Invisible Man played the role of an ideological campaign that ensured the preservation of power for Nur Ali and strengthened the position of Dusali, thus bringing peace between the two of them. It is difficult to say how the cunning steppe leader met her end, as there is no accurate information about her death. There is a legend that she faked her death. According to others, she was killed in action. She died very young and was buried here in Hobda. But there is another story. Allegedly having migrated deep into the wilderness, Sapura lived to a ripe old age, and her last days were quite peaceful. She ran the household and raised grandchildren.